friends, it's Pastor Julie checking in for your midweek children's time. Today we have another parable, again from the book of Matthew. So let's begin by grabbing your children's Bibles. We're going to read Matthew 13, verses 24 through 30, Parable of the Weeds. Jesus told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like someone who planted good seeds in the field. While people were sleeping, an enemy came and planted weeds among the wheat and went away. When the stalks sprouted and bore grain, then the weeds also appeared. The servants of the landowner came and said to him, "Master, didn't you plant good seeds in your field? Then how is it that it has weeds?" "An enemy has done this," he answered. The servant said to him, "Do you want us to go and gather them?" But the landowner said, "No, because if you gather the weeds, you'll pull up the wheat along with them. Let both grow side by side until the harvest. And at the harvest time, I'll say to the harvesters, first gather the weeds and tie them together in bundles to be burned, but bring the wheat into my barn." So, we're going to have a little adventure today about weeds. Let's go outside. So if you remember, last week we talked about being good soil for when God sends us seeds to be the best soil we can be, like Miracle-Gro, to grow as a person and to grow God's Word. Well, today we're talking about a parable of seeds again, seeds that are growing wheat, but there's weeds that are coming up when they're trying to be good and fruitful. Let's look at my plants right now. Right here we have Russian sage, and these two are starting to get purple, so they're starting to look like a plant. But before that, they looked more like this, and you couldn't really tell, is this supposed to be a plant or a weed? But now we can see that it's becoming purple, and this is one of my favorite plants. But if you notice, look at all the weeds that are coming up all around it. It's getting surrounded. So one of the things you have to do when you're taking care of plants that are pretty is to make sure the weeds don't overtake them. Some weeds are fine and you can touch them and they come up fairly easy. And then you have weeds like this. I had one of these last week in Sunday children's time. This is like one of those pricker things with thorns, and they hurt, so you can't touch them. But I have gloves on right now, and I go to the bottom and I pull them up. Look how long the roots are on that. So one of the things you can do is when you're out in your yard and you're noticing the beautiful flowers, just stop and pay attention to see if there are weeds that are growing around them and trying to distract from their beauty. And if you want to, and if your parents let you, maybe you can pick a few weeds. I think one of the most important things to learn about this parable, though, is that there's always going to be weeds when you're trying to do something good, and you just have to stay focused on God, God's message, and being the best soil you can be to produce most prettiest plants.
Thank you for tuning in today. Have a blessed day and see you on Sunday.